do you even know what NATO stands for?
Bear fight wolf.
Sometimes you gotta have a war.
And this is how it all started.
I'm anti-war. I'm against war. And I'm anti-war across the board. Like, I'm just not into, I just don't, it just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't get me going like it does for some people, you know? And you know who also has that point of view? Young people. High school age people, college age people have the anti-war, which is so crazy because they would be the ones who would go fight it. Isn't that crazy? What a coincidence. The people who would actually have to go serve and fight in the wars don't like the war. What's weird? It's always the old
Who are like, well, sometimes you gotta have a war. Sometimes the war is justified. Me? No, I'm not gonna fight. The kids, yeah. I'll send the weapons, yeah.
It's weird. Some weird shit, man. I don't get it, man. I see a lot of people picking and choosing wars and stuff. I don't get it, man. Like, I spend a lot of time thinking about the Israel-Palestine, Russia-Ukraine matrix. You know, this one, it boggles my mind because I see so many people very inconsistent on this. I get that the situations are not the same. They're similar. They're not the same. But like, I respect people who have consistent logic. Like, if your point of view is Ukraine must stand up and resist occupation, and Palestinians must stand up and resist occupation, that's consistent to me. I see the consistency. Or if your position is, I just don't like war, I want to end these wars. What do we got to do? Concessions? Stop sending weapons? Let's end these wars. Let's end these wars. I understand that position. Or even if, and I don't agree with this one, if your position is like, yeah, oppressor, get the weak. Like, okay, cool. I'm not into that at all, but at least you're consistent across the board, you know? Like, occupiers, occupy. You never hear that one, you know what I mean? You never hear like, yeah, Russia and Israel doing their thing, you know what I mean? Like, you don't hear that from anyone. What you most often hear is, yes, Ukraine, stand up, resist occupation, but Palestinians, let it go. What are you doing? What are you doing? And that's like all of our politicians. It's crazy. Well, I guess it's not crazy if you understand how lobbying works. Once you hear about the APAC, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Our politicians are getting paid off. That makes sense. And not big checks either. You're not really, like, very sad. Like, somebody take care of these politicians. Like, Venmo them to say something nice for once. But, like, yeah, because APAC, you know, pays politicians, and they speak out on behalf of Israel. And, you know, Russia's not doing that. Can you imagine if there was a Russian, like a Putin pack? Like, yeah, there could have been a Putin pack, and then suddenly, like, the tone of the Congress would change. Like, yeah, Russia has the right to do whatever it wants. They would have Putin come out and speak for Congress. Can you imagine that, having a full-on war criminal speak in front of Congress? They would do that. Right? How do you get that to happen? Putin pack. Okay? And then, you know, Putin would come out and speak, and Putin only speaks Russian, so he'd just be doing 2 hours in Russian. They'd be like, yeah! This is good stuff! You Venmo me later? Venmo? Okay, Venmo. But, you know, it is very interesting to me. I tell people, if you ever have 3 hours to kill, I highly recommend you watch Vladimir Putin's interview with Tucker Carlson. Yeah, it's all in Russian. You'll learn nothing. But you see what great lengths Vlad tries to go to try to convince the world why his people have the rights to their land. You're like, this sounds vaguely familiar. He tells a 2-hour version of Russia-Ukraine's history from his perspective. He gets real creative. He like writes a full-on screenplay. And he gets into it. He's like, external scene. Siberia. 3,000 years ago. Bear fight wolf. Bear win. Russia begin. Bear drink vodka. It was a good day. End scene. Scene 2. External scene. Siberia. 2,000 years ago. Birds suddenly fly out of sky and take fish from bear hand. Bear say, who are you, bird? Who are you, bird? birds say, I crane. He said, Ukraine.
And this is how it all started.
I totally spoiled it. That's exactly how it goes for 2 hours. No, admittedly, I don't know as much about Russia-Ukraine as I do about Israel-Palestine, admittedly. But I do know enough to know that this recent war with Russia-Ukraine could have either been prevented or stopped a long time ago by our country, the United States of America, but it has not been for greed reasons or whatever our whole thing is, right? I know enough to know that. And that's why I was just very, I guess disappointed is the best word I can say. Like when people around me in the Western world, who I feel like I share similar progressive anti-war values with, we're cheering this war on for some reason. Like, you know, it's a good thing. Like we shouldn't have been preventing it or shouldn't be trying to stop it. And people who even self-identify as woke were saying things like, yeah, Russia, yeah, NATO, go NATO, NATO good, Russia bad. I can join NATO if I want to. Say it with me. Come on now. You know, like what? Like, do you even know what NATO stands for? NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. You know what North Atlantic means? It means white, okay? Yeah. Look at the Atlantic. There's a lot of countries there. They're not all white. NATO only reps the white ones, okay? Except Turkey, but Thanksgiving, okay? And they're trying to kick Turkey out, by the way. It gives you a very clear hint. Like, look, there's like a lot of countries in the Atlantic. NATO only reps the north ones, the white ones, okay? Nothing wrong with being white, but you can't call yourself a progressive organization if you only rep white nations. That's some racist shit. Look at the list of countries that NATO reps, and you'll see why NATO spelled backwards is zero tan. Oh, man. Just saying, once you hear about what they're doing down south, you'll be shitting bricks, all right?